Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey, Joe Archino back here. And some very big news in the world of international soccer. Carli Lloyd has joined Manchester City Football Club. Obviously, she will be playing for Manchester City Women's Football Club, but she is now a part of the Manchester City Football Group. And I think this is just another example of the Manchester City Football Group growing and showing its commitment to growing on all fronts. And to me, one of the reasons why the football group in Manchester is so impressive and should be applauded so much for what they're trying to build on all fronts is just their willingness to go out there and do whatever it takes, spend whatever it is, bring in the talent, do whatever it takes. I mean, you're talking about, obviously, with Manchester City, they have spent whatever it takes. They bring in Pep Guardiola. Even last season, they bring in a guy like Kevin De Bruyne. They spend all they have to bring in a player like Raheem Sterling. John Stones this summer when they had Pep Guardiola. I mean, this is not a club or an organization that is ever afraid to spend money, and that is always obviously got to be something that you respect, because it's amazing sometimes when you look at some of these big clubs and you have a board of directors or something, and there's just some disconnect where there's just not that willingness to spend. But I want to kind of get back to the Carli Lloyd thing for a minute. I think this is huge for Manchester City Women's Football Club and for the Manchester City brand, because obviously Carli Lloyd is one of the most recognizable figures in women's athletics, obviously in international soccer with what she's done, winning the World Cup for the United States, obviously by far the most recognizable women's player in the international community. And I think obviously she's 34 years old. She said she's probably got 3 or 4 years left in her, and this is one of those perfect situations that kind of fell into place, and it's been something she wants to check off the bucket list, and I think it's outstanding. Obviously, Manchester City Women's Football Club is coming off. They're the defending champions of the FA Women's Super League, and this is a very, very good team as it is, and now you add Carli Lloyd into the equation. I think it's really is fantastic, and you've already seen the outpouring of support from the Manchester City Football Club, Vincent Kompany, Pep Guardiola, Kevin De Bruyne, you name it. They've been vocal in welcoming Carli Lloyd to Manchester City, but I do think that you look at the brand with New York City Football Club, now with a growing and really, really strong developing Manchester City Women's Football Club. You've got Melbourne City playing in Australia, and then obviously the central brand of Manchester City Football Club. That's very powerful, what the City Group continues to build and continues to do. But I think obviously the question is, can Carli Lloyd really be that game changer and bring more fans and more attention to the women's game in England? Because I do think it really is a good product. I mean, I think if you look at, obviously, the Women's World Cup, just a couple that we had just a couple seasons ago, we got some really quality play out of a lot of different plays. Obviously, there are some nations that were much further ahead than other ones, but that's to be expected, as with all things in life. And but I do think that the game is very strong, and obviously with Manchester City now bringing over Carli Lloyd, I think that's interesting bulletin board material there, and just again demonstrates what the City Group is continuing to build and continuing to do. But the questions now also kind of go to, well, Carli Lloyd's obviously played her entire career over in the United States. What kind of is that big adjustment? And I do think that there is obviously some adjustment there, but Carli Lloyd is one of those total pros where I think you put her anywhere on the field and you let her just go to work and she'll figure things out. But I think it's interesting that, this is a powerful moment for U.S. soccer, I think, as well. And I think it kind of crosses the boundaries of of the U.S. men's national team and the U.S. women's national team. That this is a big moment where Carli Lloyd goes over to Manchester City Football Club, and obviously a central powerhouse in English football, and kind of does this. And I do think it's really going to bode well for City in the United States, especially with younger girls who love the game. And look, I mean, in the United States, it's very interesting because we're really seeing shifting demographics. So many of the young people in today's society, in today's United States, are gravitating very quickly to soccer. I think it's a number of things. I think the biggest of all is obviously the FIFA video game. The sales numbers are through the roof. It's an easy thing. It's an easy game to play that anyone can go to their friend's house after school and enjoy, and people take a liking to the game through that. I think it's very accessible to either if you're a boy or a girl. It's a very accessible game, and I think the way and the style of it is the biggest part of it. Obviously, we live in a world today where we expect things quickly. We want things to happen quickly. And in soccer, there's really not a lot of dull moments. It's 45 minutes. It's a 15-minute break. It's another 45 minutes. There's no commercials. You go there, you sit, you watch, and enjoy the game. You're not interrupted, and you go about your day. And I've been saying for years that's the reason why soccer continues to grow and grow very quickly in this country. You watch, but by the time the next World Cup rolls around in 2018, you're only going to see the numbers shifting more and more in this country of people gravitating to soccer. And I do think this Carli Lloyd move is another example of that, where her going over to Manchester City Women's Football Club, I think it's big for England. I think it's big for the United States. I think everyone is kind of a winner in this situation. But that is going to do it for this segment, everyone. Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino. And I'll see everybody in the next episode.